Hi guys, this is CJBlink120, and today we're going to do the second video in the series of setting up OpenSim. Today we're going to be focusing on installing EasyPHP and setting up the MySQL server for OpenSimulator. Okay, first thing we're going to do is go to EasyPHP to download. We're going to go to download and EasyPHP 12.0 PHP 5.4.4. Okay. It says if the download doesn't start automatically, use this link, and download will start in a few seconds. Okay, here we go. So we're going to save this. And the MySQL database is going to let us manage our database that OpenSim populates. As soon as we put our settings in the OpenSim standalone configuration file to use our database, OpenSim will populate the database as it starts, and then we'll be able to see and use that database in figuring out everything that goes in. Just to give you a heads up, the next couple of videos are going to be about terrain editing in OpenSim, and then eventually, after we get everything set up, we're going to set up Robust. And Robust is an executable file that will run all of our instances of OpenSim. So we could have OpenSim running several different regions on several different opensim.exe files, all run from Robust. So our EasyPHP has been downloaded. We're going to go ahead and open the folder and run the EasyPHP setup. We're going to select English, and we're going to select Next. Accept the agreement, click Next. EasyPHP automatically installs and sets up a workspace. It's a development tool, not a production tool. Okay, go click Next, select your folder. You could select to install it on a thumb drive if you'd like. I'm just going to install it in the default folder. So click Next, and it'll create a start menu icon, and it'll have the name of that. That looks like what we want, so we're going to click Install, and EasyPHP is going to start to install. One other note, if you've already installed XAMPP or some other kind of web server for your computer, you're going to want to disable that, if not uninstall that before installing EasyPHP. You could also use your default XAMPP server or another web server as long as it's running a MySQL database. You can actually edit the MySQL database from the command line, but I find that the user interface in the web browser is a much easier way to go about editing databases. Okay, so we're going to click Finish. We don't have to open help, but we're going to launch EasyPHP. And that gives us an icon down here in the corner. We're going to let that have access. First thing we're going to want to do is click on that icon, and we're going to go to Administration, and you can see our IP address here, 127.0.0.1, which is localhost. It is the loopback address for our network interface card. And 127.0.0.1 basically means we are running this server off of our local machine. And if you look up here in the address bar, you'll see a :8887, and that number right there is the port that we're accessing. So we're using the IP address of 127.0.0.1. We're using the port of 8.8.8.7. Then we're accessing the home directory within our server. So we're going to close out of this tab and come back over here to EasyPHP, We're going to go up here to EasyPHP, close out of this, and double click on the EasyPHP icon and you'll see that MySQL and Apache have both been started. We're going to restart this server and restart Apache. We're going to stop Apache first. Then we're going to start Apache. Okay. Then click no. If you ever click the X and you click yes, EasyPHP will close and you will not be able to access any of your MySQL database. So if you go to administration now, you'll see after you've restarted, you'll have the access to the modules. It says MySQL administration, phpMyAdmin. We're going to go ahead and open that. Okay, now here's phpMyAdmin, and right now it says we have no databases in here, which is fine. First thing we're going to want to do is go to database and create new database. I'm going to call this region DB and say create, and it tells me database region DB has been created. Now I'm going to go back to home and I'm going to go to users, and we're going to add user, and we're going to give a username of region user, and we're going to say this is a local host, and then we're going to type a password. I'm just going to use 12345. 12345. We retype it, and we're going to add user down at the bottom. It tells us we've added a new user. Now we're going to go to region user and select edit privileges. We're going to go down here and do database specific privileges. Now we're going to select region DB because we want this user to be able to access region DB and region DB only. So we're going to click go here, and we're going to select the actual privileges here. So we're editing the privileges of user, region user, localhost for the database region DB. So we're going to check all of those and click go, and it says you've updated the privileges for region user at localhost. Okay, so we'll go back to home and go back to users, and we're going to see that our privileges have been considered. We have all privileges on our region DB database. Okay. So now we can go into our bin folder. So again, we put our OpenSim folder in our root on the hard drive. So I'm going to open OpenSim and go into bin. Now I'm going to go into config, include, and standalone common.ini. I'm going to open this with WordPad, and you see database service right here. First thing you want to do is tab over include storage SQLite standalone.ini, and then we're going to put a little semicolon in front of it. This comments out this line because we are not going to be using SQLite, rather we're going to be using MySQL. It says uncomment these lines if you want to use your MySQL storage. So we are going to uncomment storage provider, opensim.data.mysql.dll, and the line below it, connection string, data source localhost. Data source localhost is the IP address of the database of the MySQL server. The database that we've created is called region DB, so we're going to change from OpenSim to region DB. then the user ID from OpenSim to region user, because that's the user we created, and then the password from ** to 12345. You can keep the old GUIDs at true. And with that, we should be able to save, and our standalone common will run as soon as we open our opensim.exe file, which we'll do. And it says updating region store, and right now that updating region store is adding tables to our database. So if we go over to our PHP MyAdmin and we look and we refresh at home, and we go into databases, region DB, it has added all of these tables to our database. And each of these tables is a table that our opensim.exe can add to and adjust as needed. And basically it'll store a whole bunch of information for us, so that it doesn't have to store it in a file somewhere. It can store it in a database on our server. So we'll go back into opensim.exe. It says new estate name, my estate. We'll leave that as is. And then we're going to create an estate owner. And I'm just going to say admin for the first name, and user for the last name, password, any chosen password. Don't have to enter an email, and don't have to bother with the user ID. And that has started up for us. And again, if we want to test that out, we can go into OpenSim via our Imprudence viewer. And again, we type in admin, user, type in the password we created, and then we go to test region, make sure our test region information is correct. Again, we're using the localhost HTTP server at port 9000. We're going to click apply and OK, and we're going to log in. It says our last location is not currently available, so we have been moved to a nearby region. And now we are officially in our OpenSim region. It's nighttime out here. And again, you can change your avatar if you'd like. And all of this information is stored in the database. So I'll change mine to male, select OK, and that's officially saved. We can page up to fly, use arrow keys to move around, and then again Control-Alt-Click changes your view. You can use the scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out. And that does it for our second tutorial, setting up the MySQL server in conjunction with OpenSim. Next video we're going to be talking a little bit about terrain editing, so we can get away from this just one small pinhead island, and we can move on to some things that are bigger and better. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching this video. Alright, see ya.